Bottom one?
No, this one.
This one. The first one.
You good?
Good.
What's up, boys and girls? Martin here from the Dune Sea Outpost. We're here with Dennis Mezin from Black Market Outpost. How are you doing today, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's very exciting and very blown away by the opportunity of hanging out with you guys.
Oh, thank you. It's been a tremendous weekend.
Yeah, it has been. So the idea here is to give viewers an insight into your prop making process and get to know you as a person a little better. So, how long have you been doing Star Wars builds?
On a regular basis, probably since around 2019.
What was your first project?
My first project, funny enough, was an identical copy of Brian Thompson's droid interface.
What's been your favorite build so far?
I would have to say my Tusken Raider build is probably my favorite so far.
What materials do you typically use to create your props?
I use everything and anything. Primarily my building is found parts. So I'm a machinist by trade. So I do all the precision work and things like that at work. So when I get home, I don't really want to think about it. I just find things that look like something I want it to be and then turn it into that.
How do you approach, well, I have witnessed, but for people to know, your build process. Do you sketch your ideas first or dive right into
making? It depends. If it's something that I know I need to be a certain size or fit in a particular area in my room or anything like that, then I will sketch it and I'll make material notes and anything that I need like that. But if I'm just building a panel or something generic, sometimes I just go from the head. Lightsabers, I usually just machine right out of my head.
Right.
Just go with the flow, whatever I feel as I'm cutting. Just whatever turns out.
Yeah, but I have seen your sketchbook, and it's impressive.
There's a sketchbook. I'm not a very good artist, but there's
I mean
a stick figure sketchbook.
I kind of regret that I'm not as organized, or every time I get an idea, I should.
Right.
I mean, it's a good practice to write it down.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what the purpose of the sketchbook was initially. Like I would be at work and an idea would pop in my head, and by the time I got home, I wouldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the book by just, Hanan carbonite found by Indiana Jones, for example. I'd put the title in there, and then when I get home, I would know what I was looking to do with a certain diorama or whatever, and then just go from there.
Okay. What's your favorite prop making tool, if you have any?
My favorite prop making tool? I don't know. I mean, I use quite a bit of tools. I'm very much on the hands-on tools. I don't use computers to draw anything. It's mostly, your bandsaws, your very organic tooling. Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. What's your favorite part of the build process? Is it sketching out? Is it making? Is it weathering? Is it the electronics?
I think my favorite part is trying to, again, figure out how this found item or this object is going to fit. And what do I need to do to it to make it fit in a certain area or give it a certain look?
Mm-hmm.
I guess in the short term, it would be sort of like the layout of whatever materials I'm going to use.
Do you have a favorite greebly?
Like everybody else, the hard drive motor is used quite often for me. The juice lid is used quite often. For a while in the beginning, I was making it a habit, almost not necessarily a joke, but almost like as a signature that I would have a juice lid in everything I built. Whether it was hidden or perfectly visible, it would be there somewhere.
Which project has taken you the most to build? I'm not saying about, building a bit today and then waiting 3 months.
Right.
If you go to work hours, what's the
longest project? In work hours, for me, I would think it's like the dioramas. Time consuming, they're small, very intricate pieces. They have to fit, in a small area. You have to do a layout. The material you're using is sort of foreign to me. You're using a lot of trees and grass and things that you don't normally work with. So you lay it out, you cut it on the wrong side, you flip it over and you're like, whoops, start again. So for me, time consuming dioramas for sure.
Yeah, and that's particularly hard because to get the scale right,
Yeah.
so that when you photograph it, it looks.
It's got to look. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am assuming the goal is to make it look like not a diorama,
Right.
Like you're seeing something that's
Correct.
actual size.
Yeah.
So that's got to be pretty
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, it's the slightest little thing. Like we're working on a food truck currently. The plate could be just a hair too big, and it throws everything else off. And you're looking at that dinner plate the whole time, and
Exactly.
you know it's not the right scale for the type, size of
Right.
character or scale you're building at.
Which is the one project that you have done more quickly?
Oh, for sure. For me, it's lightsabers.
Really?
Yeah. I
How long does that take you?
Roughly from start to finish, I can probably turn out a complete lightsaber in a day, maybe 6
With
to 8
electronics and
hours.
all?
With electronics. and
That's
all, yeah.
amazing, man.
So, in the style of lightsabers I build, all my electronics are pre-wired. So once I get them and I have the holes and everything cut for location for speaker and button and everything, I do the full machining from start to finish.
Yeah, but your lightsabers are amazing. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
there's nothing. I mean, they're comparable to anything you can see on Galaxy's Edge or by all the other major lightsaber makers. So
Thank you,
that's
thank you.
really great job, man. What's your professional background?
I am a machinist for General Motors. Technically, my title is a metal model maker.
Okay,
That is my title for General
metal
Motors.
model maker.
Metal model maker.
So you make models of
Everything.
finished cars or just parts?
Parts and a lot of tooling.
Okay.
Tooling to make the parts.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, a lot of us would love to have the chops and the tools to be able to make things out of metal.
Yeah.
Rather than
Right.
something that's 3D printed. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
How do you manage working on multiple projects while going about your everyday life, like dealing with work, family?
It's tough. For the most part, my goal every day is to have at least an hour to an hour and 20 minutes in the shop. That is how I plan my day. Doesn't always work out that way,
Right.
but
Yeah, but
that's how I try to plan my day to keep the projects.
exactly. At least that way you have a
Yeah.
rhythm.
Yeah, I look at it like if you can do so much as paint 3 lines in a day,
Exactly.
you've still done something rather than, oh, forget it, I only got 10 minutes, I'm not going to do it.
That's great. That's great.
So I try to, at least every day, touch something on the project.
Okay. How did you become a Star Wars fan?
Just like everybody else. I'm of that generation.
But you
I mean-
you saw them in the theater.
Empire Strikes Back I saw in the theater.
Okay.
Yeah. New Hope, I was a little bit too young. I'm born in 74, so
Okay.
a little bit too young.
Which is your favorite, the original, the sequel, or the prequel trilogy?
Oh, my favorite movie right now, bar none, is Rogue One. But the first trilogy for sure, the beginning.
The original.
The original, yes.
All right, got it. Okay, to know how much of a diehard Star Wars fan you are,
Uh-oh.
have you watched every film? I mean, every property from the original animated
have.
series on Cartoon Network?
Including the holiday special.
That
I've
was
seen
another
it all.
question. And did you see Resistance on Disney XD?
Yes.
So you have watched everything.
I've seen Kaz on Resistance. I've seen all the animations. Every episode
I
of
think you're the only one in the
every
group who has,
episode of
man.
Clone Wars. Every episode of the Ewok Adventures.
Oh my god!
Every episode of Droids.
Okay,
I've seen it all.
where?
Disney Plus. Well, I've seen it all growing
that's
up
right.
through time, but now in the last 2 years, I believe,
Uh-huh.
Disney Plus has put them all. They're all available on Disney Plus
Okay,
now.
yeah,
if you
because
wanna go back.
I knew some
Yeah.
of this, like the
Like when I was growing up, Droids was on Saturday morning cartoons. We woke up
I
and we
didn't
watched
get
it. Yeah.
I didn't get that where I lived.
Yeah.
So I
So
missed
things like that were available.
So you
Like,
have
the
watched
Ewok
everything.
movies
man.
were on regular TV for us when we were growing up.
Right.
It was like the Friday night movie or whatever on TV.
What are your thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett?
I enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett. Character-wise, it probably could have used a little bit more tough guy development. I think maybe they softened him up a little bit. But I also feel like they were trying to get a certain story out there first and then move on from that.
Okay.
I think they were almost trying to there's a term, babyface him, so that he's not so much a villain or
Maybe they were trying
bad
to make
guy.
him appealing to a certain audience.
Yeah, I would say so. I think they were Their ultimate goal was to try to babyface Boba Fett like he was going to come in, clean the town, and be the new hero.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, I enjoyed it. To be honest with you, I don't think I've seen a Star Wars that I was like, oh, I'm never watching that again.
Okay.
And it's just like any other property, whether you're watching Star Trek or you're watching Lord of the Rings, or you're going to have a good show, you're going to have a bad show, but you're watching all the shows either way.
Right.
So,
So what are your thoughts on Andor?
I thought Andor was great. I know a lot of people out there maybe complain a little bit about having a slow start.
A lot of people
and this
did.
And that.
A lot of people did. That surprised me.
I thought it was paced and produced and directed absolutely perfect.
Okay, what advice would you give to someone who wants to get into prop making or room building?
It's real simple, guys. There's so many simple, easy, quick things you can start with. And once you start and realize that the skill is there, you just need to develop it. Nobody knows anything. Nobody knew how to walk until they started to walk. Nobody knew how to write until they started to write. Nobody knows how to build until you try to build.
Mm-hmm.
So these things are in you. You just have to put the work out and just give it a shot. And you're doing it for yourself. So if you mess it up, so what? Fix it, throw it away, start over. There's many options. It's not the end, oh, I can't do this, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
A lot of times I see people on our builders page make comments like that. And I try to answer it right away. I said, everybody can do something.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to try to do it. That's the key. I mean, all this didn't happen because he knew how to do it. All this happened because he attempted to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And in a perfect case where we are now in this setting, this room was completely different 5-7 years ago.
Right.
Right? But he tried, didn't like it, and now you have this.
Right.
You have to put the effort to get the product.
I want you to say the first thought that comes to mind when you hear Star Wars.
Fantastic.
A New Hope.
Good movie.
Empire Strikes Back.
Great movie.
Return of the Jedi.
Okay movie.
Jar Jar Binks.
No issues with Jar Jar Binks.
George Lucas.
George Lucas, probably one of the best movie creators of our time.
Rogue One.
Greatest Star Wars movie ever made.
The Mandalorian.
Greatest Star Wars series ever made.
Andor.
Andor, greatest Star Wars drama ever produced.
The Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett, oh, that's a tough one. Book of Boba Fett is good, not great.
And one last, Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson, legend in what we do. Without Brian Thompson, there probably wouldn't be us.
That's
not
true.
necessarily that there wouldn't be us, but we wouldn't know of each other. Things like what we're doing this weekend wouldn't happen.
Right.
You'd be at home in your garage by yourself building something that you look at and then put in the corner of your room.
Right.
I mean, do you know what it means to have 18,000 people just jump into a group right away just to look at what you're building, look at what this person is building, ask for advice, ask for help, ask for anything.
Yeah.
It's an amazing community.
Yes, it is. It is for sure.
It's an absolutely amazing community.
Guys, this has been Dennis Mezin here. Thank you very much, Dennis. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Keep watching. More coming up. Thank you very much, man.
No problem.